Scott Rueck. Scott, your opening statement.
Well, it was a great win today. We have complete respect for San Francisco and the way they play. Molly does such a great job. You know you're going to be in for a physical battle. It has like a fight element. Like your toughness will be tested every time you play this team. And I remember the first time we played them, it was during the COVID season in front of cardboard. And, we had a, kind of loaded team, and they came in and we could not get post position the entire game. And it was this battle that we had to win in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, okay, she can coach, and that's a good program. And that has been proven true once with these 2 years in the conference. And so that's what we challenged the team with. And so they rose to the challenge. I thought Lizzie was absolutely fantastic in this game, shutting down the rim, maintaining post position, and then, it's typically hard to get the ball to the post against them, and this team did a great job. Lizzie, we're just syncing up timing, and it's an area of growth within our program. Post passing, has always been something that we work hard on. With so many new people and seeing different styles and playing against typically smaller, quicker defenders, it's tough. And you're seeing it happen right before your eyes, our growth in that area. And I thought that was on point today. The crowd was unbelievable, and having so many alums back for lack of a better phrase, warms the heart. It's the mission and vision of this program to create a home for our students, and that lives beyond their time here as students. And so to have 40-ish, I think more than 40 alums back in this place, and to celebrate the Final Four team, to have most of them back was so special. And so just a great day in Gill.
Lizzie, one of your best all-around games of the season. How are you feeling out there? How is the game coming to you? And just how are you feeling with where you're at in the progression of the season at this point?
It felt great. It was just a lot of fun. All props to my teammates. We had to get me the ball, and we work on that a lot in practice. So it was great to see that come together. But I was just happy to be able to contribute, in the way I know I can, and kind of watch it all come together. And yeah, it was lots of fun.
Game got a little bit more complicated late in the first quarter when your starting backcourt both picks up 2 fouls. You sat them both until half. Was that is that a guaranteed thing you're going to do that? Is that a feel thing? Is that a rule you have for yourself, or just feeling like where the game is at when you make those decisions?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm ever locked into any decision. There's a time and a place for everything. And I told Ken when she came off, I told her, I said, you're going to have to play with 2 fouls. I just felt like that might be the way it went. I was pleased for the most part with the way that we sustained, without her out there. And I also thought it was just a great opportunity, for Chloe to get some big minutes in a big moment, just to grow. And now we have great game film, for her to continue to learn from, and for other people to have to step up. And so just the way the game went, it just felt right. And the way the first quarter went, I was very optimistic, about what the second half could be once we were back to whole. And it just didn't seem worth the gamble today to put her back out there in the first half.
And then you guys had 4 players in double figures. You touched on it a little bit after last game, but can you just elaborate again off of how that challenges opponents and why it makes this team so unique and dangerous?
Yeah, I that's what I love to see. I wish it were more. I think the depth, that second quarter was kind of an opportunity for other people to have a chance to step up. The best team, you don't know where the scoring is coming from. I know if they have one primary scorer, that's a much easier team typically to defend and scheme for than a team where you don't know where it's coming from. And we've always wanted to be that team that's unselfish. We rarely have ever had somebody average more than 16 points a game on our roster, because we spread it around. And that unselfish play is just a nightmare to try to scheme, I should say. And so this team, the other day, San Diego took away Jenna, and, then Kennedy goes, and we've got Tiara and Ali and so on. And now the inside presence is coming along from a scoring threat, and our ability to play with them and feature them is getting better. And so it's just, making us just so much better, I think. And so I still don't think we're near where this team can be, because we have a lot more weapons that I get to see in practice, that still aren't quite there in games, but we still have 9 more conference games to develop.
Just talk a little bit about taking the lead and how important it is against a team like this, just the importance of getting as many points on the scoreboard as you can to go ahead and put down a team.
Yeah, I think anytime you can grab a lead, it changes things on the other end for them. It puts more pressure on people. And as we scout, it's pretty evident who wants the ball in big moments. And so therefore, their options start to diminish. I was really impressed today. They had a couple of people step up and hit some big shots for them off the bench. And so maybe they were working on their depth too. It seemed to be growing as the game went on. I'm like, she shoots the 3? I didn't know that. And so give them credit. But scoreboard pressure is a real thing. It just makes everything you do a little bit harder. The margin for error is a little bit smaller. And so I loved that we were able to jump out, not only get a lead like we did the other night. I mean, it was 14-4 against San Diego. This game was somewhat similar. But we maintained it, kept it, and then, extended it in the second half.
And just speak to transitional defense and defense as a whole, what you saw from this group in the second half of the game.
Well, it's interesting that you said transition, but defensive transition was a struggle today a little bit. I thought San Francisco really pushed the ball well at us. That is something that if I have a pet peeve in basketball, it's giving up transition points. It's so avoidable, and it's the most foundational thing we do is get back and defend. And it's 5-on-5 every time, every possession. And in this game, they took advantage of that. It felt like half their points came from it. To me, I don't know if that's true or not, but we fouled them because we were out of position, and they transitioned very well. So once that tightened up towards the end of the third quarter, this game, it was like the game was over. Our player-to-player defense in the fourth quarter was so locked down that it didn't give them anything they wanted. I felt like they were going to a tough shot every single possession. And so that's Beaver basketball. I would have liked to see it a little sooner, but it was enough.
Question for Allie. You played 38 minutes, 14 seconds in this game, which was the most of all players. That's a pretty demanding load. You got 17 points and 11 total points, and where's the rebounds? Okay, but that's not the part. Excuse me. So do you think that's the most minutes you've ever played in a game, and how taxing did that feel to you? Did you even notice?
I mean, that's not something I really think about while I'm playing, but I don't think that's the most I've played. But it's demanding, and but I think we're prepared to do stuff like that if the team needs it. I think our team does a good job of staying in good condition, and we have a good trainers and stuff to keep us healthy and moving good. So that's not too much of a big factor.
Scott, am I right? I think you have 8 games left. You said 9.
I don't know. 8? Okay.
Anyway,
you're right. You're
into the second half of the season. How do you feel about where you guys are at this point? And is there anything that you're looking for improvement-wise in particular?
I'm pretty pleased, under the circumstances with where we're at. Who knew what we were going to be like once Kat went down? Had we had Kat all year, maybe I would have told you before the year, I expect to be right here. As soon as she went down, then it was like, well, it'll be interesting, to see how people grow and develop. Didn't know exactly who Lizzie was going to be, or Nene coming off injury years. Didn't know who Lara was going to be, that type of thing. And even Jenna, to an extent. And so for where this team is and the level that they're improving, how they're just adding a layer every week, I'm very encouraged by that. I think we still have too many lost possessions offensively, in my opinion, where I would like to see our depth develop a little bit more. I think we trade baskets at times. In this game we did, I felt, where it's just there's a standard defensively that we still have yet to achieve. We've seen it in stretches, but not full 40 minutes. And I would like to see that continue to develop, and that's controllable. I think it can, and I think it will. And so the leadership is in place. The spirits are great in that locker room. They play for each other, and we're getting better. And I think our coaching staff is functioning at such a high level that I'm really pleased with the way that we prepare across the board. I think we're giving ourselves a great chance every night.
If the second quarter was in part for development, in part this guy, because you talk about strategy-wise, I get that. How did you feel about offensive execution in that quarter? With the points, say one thing, but beyond points, turnovers,
Yeah.
shot selection, how did you feel about it?
Just okay. I mean, that it's not only did we have some people out there that haven't played a ton, I burnt them pretty long. They're probably playing through fatigue too, during that stretch. And so it was okay. San Francisco is hard to play against, defensively. And so we needed to execute on point. But like I said, that's great film to learn from, and I think we'll be better because of that experience.
And when you enter the final month of the regular season, when you get, technically speaking, help today from Pepperdine against Santa Clara, but do you actually want that because of the net implications? Like, are you really worried about who's behind you kind of thing, when it could best serve you if the top wins, basically, from the math perspective versus the standing perspective?
I'm starting to get the idea that you're a numbers guy. I love that question. To me, that is just entertainment because we can't control it, so it's interesting. Usually you'd want the people around you in the standings to lose because you want the best seed at the end of the year, and you'd like as much grace as you can get. But even I know the only thing that we can really control is taking care of business ourselves, and if you win, you get what you want. And so I can say Pepperdine's playing great. I can tell you that. That team is just getting better and better, and so what a win that is for them. And so congrats to them, because I know how good Santa Clara is. And so this league is fun. It's exciting. I don't know if it's a two-bid league, so I don't know how much the net will impact anything, really at this point. I think we might be kind of locked in to where we are.
Scott, you kind of touched on it a little bit with kind of the inconsistencies a little bit on both ends, offensively and defensively. You kind of mentioned that, there's still plenty of room for improvement, but what does that look like in terms of kind of those lost possessions, especially on the offensive side, in terms of how do you go about improving that here in the final stretch of the regular season before tournament play?
It's a combination of reps that they're getting and us as coaches putting them in position to be successful and steering away from things that don't work, and playing, like Jen has played, just because of the way our schedule is and who we are, Jen has played so many minutes at that 4 position that putting Kira there or Lara there, they haven't got a ton of reps. And so we're have to be really careful with play calls and what we're trying to do, with them in that position. So I think just being very intentional on who's getting what rep. Are they getting enough reps so that they're confident and that they can just play without having to think too much, in that, or can we hide that person at that time, And so I think we're getting better and better at that. I mean, we won by 20 today against a really good team. So I think things are good. I really do. Without foul trouble, we probably don't have that dip, but that's great. That was our story today, and it is what it is, and it will be better for it. So I just think the improvement that everybody has seen in this team all year, it's the exact same thing that will continue to happen. Because I think of how much better we're playing right now than what we looked like offensively in November. It's light years. Defensively especially, but overall. And so that progression will continue to happen as we just continue to fine-tune and evolve, which in our program never ends. We're adding, tweaking to the last minute that we get to play together.
The last one right here.
Question for Lizzie. 18 points, 9 rebounds on 9 of 12 shooting. what do you think allowed you to, when in the game do you think you found your rhythm that allowed you to shoot so efficiently tonight, and why do you think that was so accomplishable?
Definitely not the first shot. That one wasn't very pretty. I honestly just think I got into a mode of not really thinking about it. I think that's when I do best, when I'm overthinking and worried about my position. I kind of tend to, not shoot the greatest, but I was getting great passes from my teammates and just put me in a perfect spot to be able to make those plays. So really, it was all them.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, go Beefs.
Go Beavs! Yes. Usually can.
Yeah, that's Ken's job once again.